Thanks for tuning in to Odin Gaming. If you have a second, please hit that like and subscribe button. I super appreciate it. And for all those who already have, thank you so much. I much appreciate it and much love to all of you. I finally finished God of War Ragnarok and I'm super pumped to talk about it. I just kind of want to make a small review about the game and just, it's a badass game. And let's just get into it and let me tell you about what I think. First off, the game is epic. The experience, awesome. And it's definitely a great contender for Game of the Year. I love destroying things and taking down shameful gods as Kratos. The stories, as always in these games, is amazing. It's a roller coaster of emotions and challenges. I just want to talk about some of my favorite parts of that, and the story, as usual, is awesome. It's a sweet tale leading us through the twists and turns of Ragnarok, and once again, we're dealing with Kratos and Atreus and their twists and turns of being father and son. And if I'm being honest, the game is often more movie than game during some of the sessions. There was really long cutscenes, but the dialogue was great, the scenes were great. The cast they got for the game I thought was awesome and really delivered on those dialogue and cutscenes. The story, although longer than some stories I've played, never felt that way. It felt pretty fast paced and it moved really quickly. Many of the sequences and challenges were awesome and I didn't even know how much time was passing half the time. The action is awesome throughout the story. The scenes they show with the certain fight scenes were just epic as hell. One part of the story I was not super big on was how much they pressed Thor on us. I just wanted to fight him and hear him banter a little, but they gave us a lot more, and they almost paint him as a protagonist in some lights. They gave us a really deep view into Thor's life and his relationships, and I thought they kind of showed us that Thor is struggling as a god himself, and I thought Thor's struggle was taking away from the struggle that Kratos is having throughout this whole story. I know Thor was a big part of the game's promotion, so I understand they wanted some story, but I felt they really went too deep for me, and I really wanted to have like a more epic battle with him. I thought the fight scenes with him were awesome, but they were not as epic as I anticipated. I also expected Odin to be like some super huge, big bad dude, but he was much more schemy and weaselly, but it played out super well. By the end of the game, I'd actually really come to enjoy the Odin character a lot. I thought his scenes were really great, and it was not what I expected, but a pleasant surprise. Now, God of War always delivers on story, so let's move on to something that's a little bit more outside of that, and one thing that I thought they improved on big time in this game was boss fights. I thought the bosses in Ragnarok were far better than the previous installment. There was a lot more variety of bosses, I felt. We finally get to fight multiple gods and other celestial beings. This seemed much more ramped up than the previous game. I really enjoyed so many of the boss fights. Heimdall was probably my favorite. I thought it was a dope sequence, but there were a lot of good ones. I felt after all the hype that the Thor fights were slightly underwhelming in my opinion. They were still good, but I was expecting to be just mind blown the way they just really had the anticipation for those battles. They gave us a lot of different bosses and a lot of variety, which I really enjoy. And with this game, I thought they tried a few different things that they did well. And they gave us, I really enjoyed the gameplay sequences as Atreus slash Loki. Although I am also willing to bet some folks didn't enjoy it because being Kratos is the reason why we were all playing the game. But the Loki moveset is sweet, but not as dope as Kratos either. But on another note, other games have done similar things and been highly successful in the past. The Witcher 3 has you switching from Geralt and Ciri throughout the game, and Spider-Man we get to play as Miles for a few brief spells. It helps the story kind of play out better in these story-driven games. So, although I could see like some people not enjoying it, I thought being Atreus and playing as Atreus was good for moving the story along, and it really kind of like hit on that type of gameplay that people seem to enjoy in other games. And although being Loki or Atreus was fun and it was a good part of the story, I felt like some of his parts and challenges were really long, maybe longer than they had to be. And like I said before, it just kind of takes away from the whole experience of being Kratos. And that's the character we've all come to know and love and really like to play as the most. But like I said, for story-driven games like this, sometimes this kind of gameplay is appropriate and does add some kind of element to the game that really can be a lot of fun. Another improvement I thought they made on the game, which was already great, was the combat play. The combat play has always been great in God of War, and yet they still find little small things they can add to do to make it better. I thought this game had great combat play, some of my favorite of all time. I think Santa Monica Studios does a fantastic job making us feel like a God of War when we're fighting our adversaries. The flow of combos and the switching up of the weapons is pretty flawless and great. I don't have anything negative to say about the combat play at all. What makes the combat play even better, though, is that we always have really awesome weapons to play with. And in this game, just like always, no exception, we still have our Chaos Blades and the Leviathan Axe, which are two already badass weapons. And now we get some new shields and a spear. The new shields are different for different kinds of fighting styles, but they are fun to play with. I'm going to do a different video about all the shields. I just really think the way they incorporated the shield weapons in this game was great because the shield was already something that Kratos was using. I mean, he's basically Captain America on all the steroids. We also acquire the drop in our spear during the game, and the spear is dope. The spear is not only super useful for things outside of combat, but in combat it brings in some new elements. The spear is thrown faster and farther than the axe, and you never run out of the spear or its power. The spear also can be magically detonated like a small little bomb, which is super cool. And we get new runic attacks as opposed to having to acquire some of the same ones from the first game, which you have to in this game, which was something I was kind of pissed about. I was not big on reacquiring runic attacks that I've already previously acquired in the game before it, but the spear brings in some new runic attacks to play with, which is fun. The spear is definitely a new weapon to get hype on. The story of it and how it's made is super cool. It's one of the challenges in the game. I can't wait for y'all to see that. There are also no missable trophies in this game, and most are easy to acquire, even on a higher difficulty, probably on your first playthrough even. There are even things to do after the game is even over and officially ended and the final boss is defeated. I think it's always nice when things are not missable. It makes the game better for people who are into getting trophies like myself. It helps with the flow of the game. It just, I don't know, makes for a better experience. I think this game is the masterpiece that everybody is saying it is and it's being advertised as. I really enjoyed it a lot. I love playing every minute of it. It is a freaking awesome game. It has great graphics, great story, great combat play. Small things to nitpick at like every game does, but that's what it's about. I think that people should play this game as soon as they can if they don't want to, miss out on any spoilers. If you have played it already, I got more videos on my channel to check out. I just want to thank you all for watching this one. And if you haven't hit the like and subscribe button already, please do. I'd highly appreciate it. For those who have already subscribed, much love to all of you. Truly appreciate you. And thanks for watching and checking out Odin Gaming. And enjoy.